Greetings. And as you guys know, if you've been here for a while, I'm Reverend Dr. Marie Brevil. So every night when I do presentations, um, it's going to be about self love, self development, self care, or it also is about spirituality. So for today, we're going to be doing a very interesting subject that people should get acquainted to or acquainted with, because a lot of times we give so much of ourselves that eventually we lose ourselves. We are there for family, for friends, for partners, for children, and we give so much of ourselves. You know, you ever done this as a mother? You dress yourself up, you're getting children ready to go to school or an activity or whatever, or a field trip, whatever, a family trip. And once everybody's ready, and then you go out, you think everything was okay until like 15 minutes later, an hour later, you stop, you pick up drinks, whatever, and only to realize within the hour or maybe even at the end of the day that actually your shirt was inside out, or your if your pants or skirt, it was inside out the entire time. You are already run errands, already did this, already did that, only to find out that, yeah, your clothes are like inside out. Let me just send this real quick. Nope. So far, I certainly hope that you're having a great time, because you know how the day tend to go so fast by. So constantly, we have to keep doing things to keep us in the loop, to keep us aware, to keep reminding us that, you know what, keep, be serious about your time. Do what you're supposed to do, because you know what? Time doesn't stay still. Maybe it does stay still, but that's not how it is portrayed to us. That's not how it is presented to us. We feel like it's running and leaving us behind. But in reality, does it? All right. So the subject for today is learn to date yourself. All right. So many people are out here searching for love, for validation, male validation, female validation, romance, affection, presence, excitement, and so on, and all that from others, while starving themselves of the same. But here's the truth though: if you don't know how to date yourself, you won't know how to love someone else when you think about it, right? Because what you don't give yourself, you won't demand from others. Makes sense, right? So now let's get deeper into this. One, to think about it, why dating yourself matters. If you could just think about this, think about why dating yourself matters. All right, let's break it down. Well, dating yourself teaches you many things. Dating yourself teaches you how you want to be treated. Because have you known before how to be treated, you wouldn't have allowed other people to treat you however they feel like, to do whatever they feel like doing to you, because you would have known better. You would have done better. You would have behaved better. You would have speak up. But because you haven't done that, you haven't been able to find this side of yourself, so you could learn better next time someone is misbehaving or saying something or doing something that you don't appreciate. Right off the bat, you'll know, because you've been dating yourself, you've been talking to yourself, you've been investing time in yourself so you know the difference. Okay? Dating yourself teaches you what makes you feel seen. Sometimes when you are dealing with someone, they want to be able to tell you how you're supposed to be seen, when you're supposed to be seen, who's supposed to see you. But dating yourself will teach you that this is what you like, this is what you appreciate when it comes to, you know, being seen or make you feel seen. You're not going to just wait on somebody to tell you what makes you feel seen. You would know that yourself. You would know what makes you feel that way. And when someone is giving you ideas or giving you options, you will consider them or you will see them as such. You're not going to see them as a priority or a requirement as to how you're supposed to be loved. Okay. Um, Also, dating yourself teaches you what makes you feel relaxed. A lot of times you see nowadays people work and work and work and work so much, they don't know how to relax, right? So if you invest that kind of time in yourself, you will know that, you know what? I know myself. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I need to rest. But if you don't invest time in yourself, you're just going to be like, yeah, okay, let's go, let's go, let's go. We got to go, we got to go. You're not going to acknowledge yourself. You're not going to see yourself. You're not going to comprehend, understand anything about yourself. When you're supposed to be taking a rest, you'll be running and doing more. Also, you will know what brings you joy. What brings you joy, right? You will also know what feels romantic to you. What feels romantic to you? And not that you will ask yourself, oh, what feels romantic to me? Let me see, let me see, let me see, let me see. No. But investing time in yourself will allow you to already identify what brings joy to you, what feels romantic to you. You're not going to wait for someone else to come out and say, oh, this is how you're supposed to like it. This is how you're supposed to be. This is how you're supposed to, you know what I mean? You're going to already know that. You will also know how you like to be spoken to. So the minute someone is raising their voice at you or someone is using foul language towards you, immediately you will know that this is not okay. I don't appreciate that. I don't accept that. I don't allow that. I don't tolerate that. You do not have the right to be speaking to me this way. And you will address them, correct them, reprimand them, whatever it is that you need to do, that's what you will do. And another thing is that what you do not want to tolerate. People don't get to tell you what you're supposed to tolerate. You get to decide what you tolerate. People don't get to tell you, sit back, it's okay, tolerate it. You get to make that decision. So that's why dating yourself is so important. That's why it's something that you should look into. That's why it's something you should probably add it to your list of self-care, self-love, self-development, self-learning. I don't know how you want to categorize it, but it is something worth trying. Okay? So now you know why dating yourself, excuse me, why dating yourself is important. I hate coughing in my hand. That was like unforeseen. Okay. So again, why dating yourself? Well, it develops standards without bitterness and boundaries without apology. You see, when you date yourself, you already have an idea of yourself. So when when you're able to invest that kind of time in yourself, you learn to naturally develop standards without bitterness. You find sometimes people nowadays, when they are talking about standards, they tend to be like, ugh, ugh. There's always like not a worry, but kind of like a sense of bitterness, a sense of being annoyed, a sense of, or even fear. Sometimes people are afraid to have certain standards because they figured out if their standards remain like that, no one will approach you, no one will pay attention to you. And a lot of times it's not 100% truth. Listen, if you wanted to live a life with having ponies and and uh, why am I not just remembering the name of the thing? What I'm saying is, if you just want to live that kind of lifestyle, we're like, oh my gosh, living like you're living in a dream, there's somebody out there for you. Okay. So don't feel like you're stuck, or don't be afraid of setting your standards straight and not allowing people to just come and take over your life, or them coming and trying to tell you what to do or how to run your life because they feel your standards are too high or your standards are unreachable. That's up to you, not them. Okay. And set your boundaries without apology. Don't let people bully you until to remove your boundaries because they're unable to reach them. They're unable to feed into it. They're unable to understand you. Okay? Don't let that happen. So, two, dating yourself prevents settling. Okay? Dating yourself prevent settling. When you don't know how to enjoy your own company, I mean, come on, you will tolerate fake company, settle for low effort, accept dust for attention, chase bare minimum, feel pressured to put up with it or with anything, stay longer than you should. So that's why it's important to date yourself because it prevents settling. You're going to start settling for things that you don't deserve. You're going to start settling for things that you should have stayed away from. You're going to start settling for ignorant folks, ignorant entities. You're going to start settling for things you should have run away from, for things you know, entities you should have never have had access to you. So that's why it's important for you to date yourself because it prevents so many troubles ahead, like nobody's business. So you get to you get to see yourself on a different light where other people don't get to run your life and manipulate you and try to hold you hostage in the manipulation. And when you try to leave the manipulation for them to try to drag you back into it just because they need you there, because that's how they feed themselves. So all that also has an aspect um of energy vampires. If this is the kind of folks that you have in your life, when people like to have access to you and they start eating well, you're feeding them real good, they will not want to leave. They will just sit there and want to remain there. Okay. So now, why all that? Well, because loneliness becomes your enemy. When you don't date yourself, you be afraid of any time that you have to be solo, you have to be by yourself, you will become concerned, you become intolerable, you become annoyed, you become angry, you become just unbearable. because you haven't seen that side of you. You haven't seen that person in you. You've always run away from her. So now that she's present, you don't want to deal with her. Okay? You will start judging her so harshly in ways that even you have ever seen before. But when you take the time to date yourself regularly, loneliness becomes peace, not punishment. And loneliness will only be solitude. It will not be something that's against you. And suddenly, you don't settle anymore. Once you start doing that and practicing that as part of your life, you will not settle for less. You will not settle for things that are going to destroy you if you don't stay away from them. Okay? So, third, dating yourself builds self love. Okay. Self love is not just affirmations. Sometimes people think that self love is just sit back and repeat self care, self love affirmations, and that should be good enough. That's not good enough. It's deeper than that because it's like a ritual. And I know sometimes people don't like to say ritual. Well, it's like a treatment, it's a routine, it's a habitual. And it's like romancing your own self, you know? And if and when you romance your own self, others won't matter to you like that. Like, I'm not saying that you're going to be careless about people, though you could, but I'm saying that people will not have so much influence over your life that the minute they don't show up, it's like they just destroyed your entire life. It's like everything is over for you. Okay? So, dating yourself means getting ready for yourself, taking yourself out, buying yourself flowers. Some people find it weird. I remember I used to buy, I used to always get myself flowers, and I still do. And then they would like, they're like, oh my gosh, you always have events. Where are you going this time? And I'm like, well, I kind of like, I'm always going somewhere, or, you know, and I'm like, but the flowers are mine though. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, I thought you were heading to a graduation or something, you're buying people flowers. Yeah, I'll buy them flowers too, but I also get myself flowers. I don't wait for people to be like, oh my God, let me send her some flowers. Let me do this. Let me do that. No, I do it myself. So when you do it, I'll recognize it too. And that's why you find sometimes when people get other people flowers, let's say someone is dating another and the other get them flowers, they don't even see it. They don't even see the person. They don't even see the gesture because they've never done it to themselves. They never done it for themselves. They never done it with themselves. Some people don't even get flowers for her graduation. They don't even get flowers for whatever event that's going on with their kids, with their children. They don't even do anything. They don't get their partner flowers. Some people are just however they are, you know? And if the person doesn't like flowers, doesn't mean that you have to get flowers. It could be chocolate. Some people like chocolate, some people like candies, though I wouldn't advise unless it's natural, because there's a bigger price to pay after that. But when you look at flowers, you use them, and then once they're like faded, you let them dry, and then you can take the flowers. You can use them for oil or for flower water. You could boil them. You could add oils to them, and for smelling good. You could spray your house. You could use it for your body. You could use it in different ways. So it's not like you're just buying flowers and waste it. But there are other things. I try not. I can't say I never, but I try not, because sometimes I do let the deer eat my flowers at the end. So I don't let them die, like dry off and whatever. So I bring some of it. I bring the remaining to the deer and stuff. But other times, like I can, like, if I had like two or three flowers, like, one in different rooms and whatever, I could allow one of them to be dried off, so I can use, and then the rest I could give it to the animals. So, okay. Um, what else? Dressing yourself. Sometimes, like, for example, if someone was to see me right now, you're like, oh my gosh, where you coming from? Where did you go? What did you do? Nothing. I was home. you know and sometimes people get that thing. It's like if they come to fix something or whatever and they get to the door, they thinking like, oh my gosh, oh, I'm sorry, especially if they're late. They automatically think, oh my god, you got to get out, I'm so sorry, I'm late, and da da da. And I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. I i just i just dress up, but I'm not going anywhere. So sometimes learn to dress up for yourself. you know it doesn't have to be. I have to keep that light, because the light that's here is dark. It's not bright, so I have to keep this light in my face. So um what was I saying before I interrupted my own self? um Dressing up. So don't always wait for, like, I don't know, if you're a church going person, like every Sunday to be dressed up. Dress during the week. Don't only be dressing up when you're going out. Sometimes dress for yourself. If you have a long vacation, let's say you have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday is another holiday, dress up. Do the pleasure yourself. Sometimes you have all these clothes on the corner, you just never really wear them, and you're thinking, okay, what am I going to do with this? What should I do? And yada yada. And next thing you know, God forbid, something happened to you. People will just take your stuff and just waste it. They won't even know the value of it. There was this lady that had all these beautiful cutleries, and she would never use them. She just left them, beautiful plates and glass, and wine glass and stuff. So she just left all that beautiful stuff because it was antique and expensive. So she just left all that stuff on her china all the time. She refuses to use them. And one day she kicked the bucket. What do you think happened to the stuff? People were just like ravaging through them. People were just taking stuff, didn't even know the value of things. So they would take things and use them for the wrong purpose, you know? So just think about that. If something was to happen to you today, God forbids, would people know the value of your head wrap, the value of your brooches, the value of your glasses, the value of the things that you have? Would people know the value of them? Chances are not. Even the people that resided with you don't know the value of the things that you have. So something that you could have purchased for $1,000, somebody might sell it for $100, $200 because they don't know the value of it. Right? Okay. Also, um, talk kindly to yourself. A lot of time it's so easy for people to call themselves, stupid. And I always tell people, learn to talk nicely to yourself too. For example, um, I'll give you an example of a presentation I did one time in a professional room. I took a piece of paper, and that might be useful for you, to you on your next presentation yourself. Um, I wrote a bunch of negative names, stupid, dumb, ugly, fat, you know, all those different names that people call themselves when they're upset, when they get a flat tire, when they forget to check on the minor details, and they just call themselves these names. So that's what I did. I put all that stuff in a basket, and then I wrote a bunch of positive name I put also on a basket. So I started with the negative. I said, everybody take one and do not look at it. And then once get set up and I turn around and I say, go ahead and take a look at your paper now and say it out loud. And that was the other challenge. Oh, no, no, no. I said, first, don't say it out loud. I said, I know you're going to see it. Don't say it out loud. But the facial expression of everybody was already priceless because everybody was just like, and it was fun to watch. Not fun in that way, but fun in a way because as a researcher, when people do that, they're what you call it, ugh, they're going according to my predictions. And so everybody was just like shocked, like, and I was the youngest in the classroom too, so I had no right to even use any kind of language like that with anybody. And I mean, everybody was old, much older than me. I think the closest person was a friend of mine, which was she was 5 or almost 10 years, but we look so much alike, like you wouldn't know she's like 10 years older than me, you know. um so yeah, so it's like everybody was in shock. And then I started my presentation and I said, I know right now the paper you're looking at, you're acting like you're shocked. Now I'm being accusatory. I'm like, you're acting like you're shocked. You're acting like you've never said this to yourself before. Now the guilt face. Everybody's guilty. Why? Because everybody had said these things to themselves before. Everybody has called themselves stupid, dumb, ugly, fat, and all the other many names that's even worse than that, you know? And once I said that, every face was just guilt. And everybody that was like, oh, how dare you? Why would you put this in there and da 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 da, and wanted to run their mouth? Zip. No one was saying anything anymore. And my teacher was like, my professor, I should say, because that's college, just in the corner, like, this girl. And it was so striking. It was memorable. It's not a presentation you're going to forget, because I think it was a little bit of a competition too. And, and, um, and so after that, and, and then I did the presentation of why we should watch our words and watch the things that we're saying. And I'm saying this time I was probably like 17, 18. So this is why sometimes when I'm talking these things and I say, these are not things that some people are just starting now, some people are just doing this now. This is something that we've been doing for a while. This is something that we're really dedicated towards it. That's why I continue to write, even if through life sometimes we have our own little journey. We hit some, rough path, but we we're still there, we're still functioning, we're still doing what we need to do. So then I passed around the positive words, and then everybody was like, ah, and then it was like a relief because these were positive words. I'm intelligent. I'm so smart. I'm a genius. I'm an alchemist. I'm a, waymaker. I'm a miracle maker. And when they were reading these, and everybody was just so happy, And at the end, I told them to keep both of them. And then they get to choose how they want to represent themselves next time. They get to choose how they want to talk to themselves. Do you want to talk to yourself this way, that you're stupid and dumb and da da da? Or do you want to talk to yourself that way? You're intelligent, you're smart, you're an alchemist, you're a genius. Which way do you want to talk to yourself? That was the presentation. And By the time I was done, it was a standing ovation because no one has ever done a presentation like that before, you know? So it's just to say, do things for yourself. Talk kindly to yourself. Don't stay stuck when you make a mistake. When anyone can make a mistake. Just a little thing that just happened. It's not that big of a deal. If you did that, then you can do even better. So just keep that in mind. If you made this mistake, then you can make even a better choice. Anytime you make a mistake, know that you could do better. That was just a mistake. If you can make a mistake, you could do better. So just keep thinking high of yourself. Okay. Also, exploring new experiences with self. Don't wait for people to experience things in life. Sometimes, people will tell you, oh, yeah, I want to travel with you. Yeah, we got to do this. Yeah, we got to do that. But at the end, they never really do anything, right? Or they end up doing things with other people and forgot to remind you that they actually were about to do something with you. So that's why it's important to encourage yourself. That's why it's important to support yourself. That's why it's important to acknowledge yourself, to talk nice to yourself, to dress up for yourself, cook for yourself. Don't wait for people to come to your house to cook. Don't wait for others to buy you flowers. Buy yourself flowers. Don't wait for people to take you out. Get up today. Like today, I could have gotten up and go somewhere, but instead I went in nature. I could have gone to a restaurant. I could have gone and do something out there, but I really wanted to be cute to get into nature. So I just went to nature and say hello because it's been a while since I've taken a walk back there. When I say a while, I'm talking just a couple days. Not like years, I'm talking just a couple days. Because it's been snowing a lot lately, and it's been cold a lot as well. I'm talking below zero. Okay, it's like negative. So yeah, to the point like now we have to leave our water on. Not too much, just to leak a little bit so it doesn't freeze on the pipe and you end up with a bigger problem. So, just to say, like, just keep doing nice, nice, blah, blah, nice things for yourself. I just got stuck on my tongue for a minute there. Okay. So it also, um, dating yourself builds self-love, but it also strengthens the relationship between you and you. Okay, between you and you, it strengthens the relationship, which most adults never really develop. Okay, most adults in life don't develop that relationship with themselves. They develop that relationship perhaps with someone else, with parents, with siblings, with lovers and partners and people that just happen to travel a little bit with them, but they never really develop that kind of strength in the relationship with themselves. Okay, some people just have so little of the relationship with themselves. Like, if someone were to accuse them of something, they wouldn't even know the difference. If someone, like, did you break this, and they'd be like, it's like they can't even tell if they actually were the person who actually did this. That's how, like, crazy that is. You understand what I'm saying? It's like someone did something, somebody else did something, but they accuse you of doing it, but you can't even tell. Like, sometimes someone did something, and the minute they did it, and you turn around, and you're like, no, 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 no. I would never do something like that. That's what I mean. Some people don't even have that kind of relationship to the point they could be like, listen, this is not something I do. That's not me. That's not part of my journey. That's not part of my thing. That's not part of my habit. Some people don't even have that little bit of boundary, you know? So, four, okay, let's keep it moving. Four, if you date yourself, you avoid certain situations, okay? When you're comfortable dating yourself, okay, You don't tolerate disrespect. Okay? Very short fuse for respect. I guess I just invested a little bit too much time in myself because that's one thing I cannot tolerate. Okay, I remove myself very quick from situations where I feel that this is becoming an issue. Okay, because to me, the minute you start doing that or that you did that, you're just sending me a message, and it's up to me to understand the message, to hear that message, or I can sit back and allow you to continue to disrespect. Well, no, I'm good. I'll see you not later. you know okay, you don't chase attention. You have some people um that constantly they're chasing attention. They're always trying to like do things that they shouldn't have done. It's like as a woman, you don't want to be dating somebody every 2 months, every 3 months. You're moving into their home, and then 30 days later, you're breaking up, you're moving on with the next guy or the next girl because some people are just can't make up their mind. And it's not worth it for you. And the same way, too, you don't want to be that guy, that does these kind of things. So it's just to say how important it is um, for us to just have a better perspective of ourselves. And it's not impossible for us to do. We just have to make a decision, okay? So you don't chase negative attention. You just don't chase attention at all when you date yourself. So these are some situations that you would avoid. You don't beg for love. You don't beg for attention. You don't beg for anything. You also don't fear solitude. You don't cling to dead energy. You don't stay where you're drained. Sometimes you find people who just keep on going back where they don't belong or where they're not respected or where they're not seen. Okay? So you're not going to do these things because you already know how to give yourself quality time, attention, romance, beauty, comfort. Okay? So you would already know how to give yourself all these things: quality time, attention, comfort, beauty, romance, whatever else that you seek, that you feel that you feel that you need the presence of, you've already built that within you. So it's not going to be a problem where you're going to be seeking something else from someone else. Okay? So no one can weaponize these things against you. That's what you get out of it. 5, practical ways to start dating yourself. Okay. Here are just some simple ways. I'm not even getting too deep into it. We could get deeper than that, but I'm not even going to go there. I'm just going to keep it um, surface enough and deep enough, just enough for you to understand. Okay. And I say that because I know people are always running. There's always something to do. There's always something to address. So I don't want to keep you too long where I don't need to. Okay. So practical ways to start dating yourself. I'm just going to share with you some simple ways. You can go out alone, go out to eat alone. Okay, I'm not saying go on a corridor, on a dark alley and try to be looking for trouble. No, that's not what I'm saying. Neither is it what I mean. Okay? Go out to eat alone. Go to a nice restaurant where it's well lit. Okay? So you don't say that I send you to some dark places. Okay? Go to a well lit restaurant. Okay? Go eat alone. Go out to eat alone. Go out to the movies alone. Go for solo walks, right? And I think some people do that sometimes. I mean, maybe sometimes they fall in the situation, they have no choice but to take a walk. But I think a lot of people can say that they do solo walks, even if it's not like an hour. It could be like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or I think some people do take intentional solo walks at time. I don't know. I hope I'm not wrong. Okay. Um, you can also explore museums, galleries, parks. It's a wonderful experience. Okay. You can take yourself on spa days. You could decide that every first of the month, every first Sunday, every first Saturday, whatever. Pick a day, one day a month, not every week. Pick one day a month to start. And then if the experience is working for you, then you can add more days to it. But start with like a day. Okay, I thought I was going to sneeze. Start with like a day, for the month, and go to a spa. Okay. Dress up for you. We talked about it earlier. Read in cafes. I like reading in cafes because then you get to read and you get to gobble gobble a lot of drinks, you know. So I like reading in cafes, especially if it's a good location where they might have like a little, I don't know, water in the back or some kind of a window that can see into nature. I enjoy that. Also cook yourself something fancy, you know. Take solo drives with music. Love to do that too. Um, take solo drives. I just said that. I like it so much that I'm repeating myself again, right? Um, journal in beautiful places. So don't just journal like in your bathroom, in your bedroom. Take your journal with you. Don't leave it behind though. Go to a beautiful place, a beautiful cafe, a beautiful I don't know, I don't want to say restaurant. That would be a little too heavy. But you could go to some nice places that are like sitting places where you could just draw. Sometimes like they have especially like in the city, like in New York City, in the cities, in New York cities. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. New York City, okay? They have a lot of like little, kind of like, I don't know what to call them, like little spots that would look like almost like a house or a old kind of building that's just maintain its beauty. And they would have like nice little, I guess they call them like secret gardens and stuff. Oh my gosh, beautiful, beautiful, peaceful, unique experience. Okay. um and I like also like the old bookstores, because like we have lost so many bookstores. So that's another one. Okay. So journal in beautiful places. And if you don't want to do these places, sometimes I also do nature, you know. Once it gets better, maybe this summer I'll show you. Actually, I think I did post it, but I just didn't post that I can go there to journal as well. Yeah, I could go there to journal, but it's a beautiful place by the water that one of the waters that I go to that's near me. And it's just nice. You just sit there, you journal, you just invest time with yourself, meditate, whatever. A lot of things you could just do. Okay. um I think I did mention buy yourself flowers. You could, if you can afford weekly, and you don't, to do it weekly, you don't have to buy like a big old, maybe it's just one rose. I don't know, for two, three, four, $5. I don't know. So, okay. So whatever it is that you choose to do it consistently. Don't just do it and be like, drop it. but do it consistently. Okay? Not just occasionally or just for a picture or just when you're gonna post. People do a lot of things for trending nowadays, so we don't want to do that. Okay? Six, consistency is the key. You don't date yourself once, you date yourself as a lifestyle. You make it a lifestyle. Okay? Once it becomes normal to love yourself, your standards